Ladies and gentlemen, we have to clear up a few things. Today is June 13th, Sunday, I believe it is. And I heard a story that the beach behind my house, which I am about 45 seconds from where I live, the beach, the white sand beach from behind my house, was a rocky sand beach. And we heard this from a closet-dwelling troll. So this area here, this is rocky because they just destroyed a wall over here, and this is the debris from the wall they broke down. So this is and they mixed a bunch of concrete here, but after that it turns into a beautiful white sand beach. And it's high tide at 11:16 a.m. today, and although there's some flotsam and jetsam, which is like natural debris and weed line in the water, this is the rocky white sand beach that you heard the closet dweller critiquing behind my house. So let's look around and see if we can find some rocks. Minuto. Guapo, no candy. Wow, you're getting very, you're very itom. Oh my God, they get dark in the summertime. We all do. So we're still looking for rocks on the beach. So far, no rocks. Oops. So far, no rocks. Okay, no rocks there. Got some flotsam and jetsam here. Somebody came down and cleaned up the beach a little bit the other day. But these coconuts are probably not so much beach cleanup as somebody came down and put this this debris in a pile intentionally, and that these coconuts are probably somebody's cooking facility, cooking wood for the next month or so. So sometimes the neighbors come down and they put a pile of coconuts and some tree debris. And the good thing about where I live is that even though this looks like a pile of junk or flotsam and jetsam, one of the neighbors in all likelihood took all these coconuts and put them there so that each day they come down and grab 10 to 12 coconuts for their cooking stoves. We're still, and nobody will touch that pile. Nobody will ever touch that pile. So let's look for some more rocks. And they cleaned up the beach a little bit. They did have a crew down here last week. We're still looking for rocks. Minuto. Hello. So we're still looking for rocks. We're still looking for rocks on the beautiful white sand beach behind my house. And my house is exactly next to that building right there. So you know I can't be... Did I come down here and hide the rocks? No. What we have is a closet-dwelling troll who lies about everything. About everything. Now this is the one point I wanted to make. That's why I came down here today. Okay. We talked about environmental conservation and the saving of the environment on many different occasions on my channel. This tree is down, but there's no reason for this tree to be on the ground, except for one, and it's not fair to the environment. It's not fair to the locals. It's not fair to the ecosystem. And the reason that this tree is down is because if you notice, these boats are tied to the trees. Each rope from all of these 16 boats all have a rope tied to a tree, or several different trees, depending on if there's a storm or not. So this is the rope. It's a piece of 5/8 nylon. It's a piece of 5/8 nylon, and it's tied about just under 4 feet from the base of the tree. Now the reason it's tied 4 feet up is because this way the rats that run along the base of the tree won't chew on the rope, theoretically. However, what that rope does, what that boat does with the rope, when the wind is blowing away from shore, the rope is constantly going like this, pulling on the tree, sometimes with 1,000 pounds of pressure. When there's a storm and it's raining, the ground is soft, it's mushy, and each yoke on the rope, even though it might take 4 or 5 months of this, each yoke on the rope is pulling the tree a little bit more and more cocked downward. We've lost over 20 trees on this beach since the lockdown because all of the boats are tying up ropes to the trees at the 4-foot level. Now, one way to prevent this would be not to tie up to the trees at all, but then they would need an anchor system back here in the sand, and they don't have that. Another way to prevent it would be to tie it low. The lower you tied it, the less leverage it would have to pull the tree down. But these are not young trees. Some of these trees are 30, 40, 50 years old. This tree is a 10, 20, 30, 40, 70-foot tree. A 70-foot long tree took probably 20 years to grow. And this tree is down because we've had many storms, and this tree was a good sized tree, and they put a good amount of ropes, probably from 2 boats or 3 boats. So environmentally, even the purveyors that make a livelihood off the beach itself are not doing their part to conserve the wildlife on the beach, in my opinion, and in the opinion of the United States Biological Survey teams that used to come and inspect my jobs. You would not be allowed to do this, especially wouldn't make a difference whether there were storms or not. You would be allowed possibly to put an anchor out here, but not the ropes on the trees, because just on this little section of beach from where you can see now to the boat over there about 160 feet away, 4 trees are down. And going this way, well, apparently someone took 2 of the trees that were down on this side and either cut them up for firewood or put them in the ocean. So there is great detrimental damage done when they start putting ropes on the trees, but you cannot. The people that run the environment here, they know this is happening, but they don't. If there is a law, and there may not even be a regulation, if there is a regulation, they don't enforce it, because the people are under enough duress that own the boats already that they don't need further complications to secure their huge investments of the boats. So on one hand, you have a huge investment that you want to protect by not letting the storm blow your boat out to sea, and on the other hand, you have a tree that takes 20, 30, 40, and 50 years to grow that's going to get destroyed. 16 trees on this beach, on 1,000 feet of this beach, 16 trees have been felled because of the roots. That would normally, they might grow another 10 or 20 or 30 years. So without further ado, I will tell you that this is Michael FAZIO. I know that what my environmental protection agencies would say is that this would not be allowed, but what the Philippines jurisdiction in regards to regulations, I don't know if that is even the case. So this is what is left of a major investment since the lockdown. This boat probably had a 60-horse motor on it, and it had a tank rack in it, and all of this is very expensive. This type of rubber that they put on the deck, non-skid rubber. They had this railing on here. It's all stainless steel. And again, where I live, believe me when I tell you, the locals don't take anything that doesn't belong to them. This stainless steel is worth money to a scrapper, but even the scrappers won't come down on the beach and take somebody else's stuff. So I live in a beautiful place in that regard, but look at how this boat has been destroyed. And a lot of these boats have already just been cut up and turned into parts of houses and firewood, because the storm was smashing all the boats up against, actually the storm was smashing the boats up against the trees because the water was up that far and smashing